In this lecture, I'll present the in-filter interaction in the buck converter with color mode control. Also, we'll come up with the final summary of the in-filter interactions for three basic converters: buck converter, boost converter, and buck boost converter with voltage mode control and current mode control. Case study number 3, buck converter with current mode control is very, very interesting. Okay, so finally, we study the case of buck converter. This is operational conditions, in variables, out variables, switching frequency, and slope of compensation lamp, and this voltage feedback compensation. They are optimally selected to provide the best possible performance for the uncoupled converter, and we coupled that converter with in-filter. So this is in-filter coupled buck converter. Okay, so let me show you the input impedance characteristic of this buck converter case. Surprisingly, for the buck converter case with current mode control, all the four impedances merge together at low frequencies. Right? Here, this GI prime and the GI triple prime, they are open loop impedances. It's coming like this, and this GIU and the GI double prime is coming together. So all of four impedances are merged at low frequencies. Okay? This is a very strange behavior of buck converter. We analyze this. We address this in the paper. So there is some reason being this. Okay? That comes from the structure of voltage mode control. As I told you several times, voltage mode control, buck converter case with the voltage mode control and on-time sub-circuit and off-time sub-circuit, they are the same. Only difference is the existence of input voltage. On-time sub-circuit, input voltage is applied, and off-time sub-circuit structure remains the same. Only input voltage is gone. Because of that feature, this characteristic of this impedance are very different from the other cases, right? So people, they didn't know this for a long time. Okay? This is proved by analysis and simulation and experiment. Okay? So analysis is most obvious, but it's not easy to come up with this conclusion. Okay, so this is proved by this simulation. This is the computational method. Okay, so we proved this experimentally, and this GIU low frequency value is the value of negative incremental resistance at low frequency. Okay. They have all the same characteristic up to frequency of this frequency. This is the loop gain crossover frequency of uncoupled converter, and phase of them all remains this minus 180 degree. Very strange, okay? And very, very interesting. Right? I wrote down here, again, four input impedances are all identically damped by internal feedback of current mode control. So internal current feedback. Okay. For the voltage mode control, there are two feedback. One is current feedback, and the other one is voltage feedback. They are coming together. Four impedances all become the negative resistance of this value for the frequency of all practical impedances, and these things characteristic produce very unique and surprising in-filter interaction. You can predict this, right? Because input impedance are the same, then this multiplication ratio all the cancels. Okay? It's coming here. Okay, first this one. I generated three different cases. Case A, with this type of filter parameters, the peak value of output impedance is here. So there is a huge difference, and converter is safe, stable, and the performance of converter is maintained as those of that of uncoupled converter. And this is the middle one, B, but they are very close. Okay, so there is a very small margin. So this converter is nearly unstable, but still stable. Okay, and final case, there is overlap at this frequency range. So this is unstable overlap. Typical example of unstable overlap. Okay, so we have three cases, and the polar product of minor loop gain, impedance ratio for these three different cases are shown here. So this is a case A. Okay, very small circulation. So it is far from this critical point. So converter is very stable. For the second case, still stable, but they are very close. But the margin of stability will be small. Gain margin will be very small. Okay, and for the second case, we have overlap. And during the frequency of overlap, we know the phase of this minor loop gain is this direction, minus 180 degree. So it encircles this unit circle. So for the case filter C, the converter becomes unstable. That's obvious from this loop gain analysis, polar product analysis, minor loop gain analysis. Okay, so let's take a look at the one by one. With this audio susceptibility case is shown here. This is the equation. Okay, this is the expression, exact expression of audio susceptibility of in-filter coupled converter. And this term, they are all the same. Okay, so, but we are not using this one here. Okay, but they come together. Oh, no. There is a huge difference. GIU prime is much larger than this. So this term goes away. Okay, for the case A, right? But for the case B, this becomes close to -1. So it will show some peaking. And with this, the system becomes unstable. Okay, so let's take a look at the characteristic of audio susceptibility of in-filter coupled converter. This is audio susceptibility of uncoupled converter. With filter A, it generates some peaking. Right? I don't know why this peaking. We have a huge difference, but this is not huge enough. I don't know. Anyway, the peaking is here. And for the case B, we have larger peaking. And we have, for the case C, we have very sharp peaking. Right? The phase information of this loop gain is telling us something very important. Okay? So phase drops by 180 degree. Here, A, B. That means there is LHP pole. Okay? Pole is reducing phase by this 180 degree, minus 180 degree. So poles are located in the LHP, left half plane. So system is stable. Right? This phase is increasing for the case C by 180 degree. That means this LH pole crossed the imaginary axis and it became the unstable RHP pole. Understand this? Okay. They are pattern from these phase characteristics. So this phase characteristic is telling us there are two RHP poles in the system. The system is obviously unstable. Okay, so stability judgment is obvious from this audio susceptibility analysis or previous loop gain analysis. How about the other transfer functions? Output impedance of this converter is expressed like this. Okay, this is the exact equation originated from the ET, but we have this characteristic for this case. This is always true for the buck converter with current mode control. Then all of them are the same. Then this whole term becomes what? Unity. Okay? So we cancel this numerator with the denominator and whole thing becomes 1. Then this output impedance of in-filter coupled converter is practically same as this output impedance of uncoupled converter. Okay? Why is this? Because of this cancellation. That means the internal dynamics of this converter becomes unobservable at the output port of a converter. Okay? Maybe in the control theory, there is a term, controllable, uncontrollable, and observable, unobservable. Right? Unobservable means at a certain point, the status of internal dynamics are totally hidden at that point. That is the definition of unobservability. So for this case, this dynamics, internal dynamics are totally unobserved at the output port of a converter. So this output impedance does not carry any information about the internal dynamics. They canceled inside. Okay? It's not showing. In the output side, they are totally hidden. This is a simulation of output impedance for different cases. Okay, GOU and GOS with these three different infilters, they are exactly the same, almost the same. Maybe you can find a very small deviation somewhere here, but practically they are the same. Right? So this says converter is stable. Okay? There is nothing strange in the output impedance characteristics. For the case of loop gain analysis, this is the loop gain of the converter. Okay? Expression is this. This is the exact expression applicable for any cases. But we have this condition, then this numerator is practically same as denominator, regardless of any strange behavior in GI prime, GI double prime, and the GI triple prime. If something happens here, same thing should happen here. They are the same. Okay? So also they cancels, becomes 1, and loop gain does not show anything. Even converter is marginally unstable, or converter is actually unstable. The loop gain is not telling anything to us for the problem of this converter. Right? So this was some puzzling problem for many engineers for a long time. Okay? So they didn't realize this. They didn't realize this. And maybe 20 years ago, one guy realized this. And he did not know the reason of this. He couldn't explain the behavior, the origin of this behavior. Okay? I'll introduce the paper regarding that story maybe next time. Okay. Finally, I'll show the step load response of converter of this case. Is shown here. Right? Step load response. Okay. This is the loop gain analysis, minor loop gain analysis. Polar approach shows the converter with filter A, converter is very, very stable. And converter B is marginally stable with converter C is unstable. So this is a transient response of output voltage in response to step changes in the load current. Okay? So this is the case of uncoupled converter without in-filter, and this is the with filter A, which provide huge gap. Okay? And this filter B provide very small margin. It is almost unstable. So the output impedance, output voltage shows some strange behavior like this. And with filter C, the converter is obviously unstable. It shows oscillation like this. Okay? So this is well verified by this time domain measurement, simulation, and analysis. Okay? The last remaining thing is you should want to see the prediction of these impedance curves are the result of the circuit analysis based on the ET. That procedure is provide. Let me show this. This is the paper we presented maybe 6 years ago. 6 years. we submit this paper to the transactions, IEEE transaction powerless. They just disregard it. Why you are doing this? Something like that. Okay? Good exercise. Something like that. So finally, we decide this one. This is the easy to be accepted. This is the internal domestic essay paper, and we just published there. Okay? This is a very good paper. You don't have to follow everything about this, but you should know the procedure of deriving those 12 input impedances. It requires some effort and time and some energy, something like that. Okay, I have something else to do. Okay, so I stop here. All right. I'd like to summarize the content of previous lecture with these three. Next slide. This is the first one. This slide explains the situation of infilter in action for the case of voltage mode control. So if the voltage mode control is used, then infilter inner action of 3 PWM converters, buck boost converter, they are mostly the same. This is the magnitude plot of 4 input impedances associated with infilter in action. So to remind this, you have this situation. Ideal voltage source is coupled with downstream converter through this infilter stage. So we have converter here, and output impedance of this infilter evaluate with input port showed is called GOF0, and we need to take a look at 4 different input impedance of downstream converter. First one is just regular closed loop input impedance, GIU, and GI prime is the open loop. Is it right? Open loop input impedance with input port showed. Okay, and GI double prime is input impedance evaluate with the situation the output voltage is nullified, GI double prime, and GI triple prime is input impedance of converter evaluate with simply voltage loop open. So we have 4 different input impedances. These 2 are closed loop input impedance. This is regular closed loop input impedance. This is also closed loop input impedance, but our voltage is nullified by some operational condition. And these lower 2, GI prime and GI triple prime, are open loop. Feedback loop is open for the evaluation of those 2 converters. So they are these 2 closed loop input impedance. They merged at the low frequencies, and they have some deviation here. But for this frequency range, they are about the same. Okay, and both of them shows minus incremental input resistance at low frequencies that create a lot of problems, stability problem and peaking problem, so on. And this open loop impedance is not fully enhanced at low frequencies, so this is the typical case. This can be considered the properly designed case or optimal case for the output impedance of infilter. So we have some overlap here and overlap here. These overlaps will affect the closed loop performance of downstream converter when coupled with this infilter here. Okay. So for the stability, the only requirement is peak value of this. Output impedance of infilter evaluate with infilter should stay lower than this GI double prime or GIU. That is the only requirement. Okay. So this is the minimum requirement for the stability. So we need this. This is the peak value of output impedance of infilter, and this is the simply low frequency asymptote of those 2 impedances. But this is the minimum requirement. For the conservative requirement, for the guys who are worrying about something much, he needs consider this condition. So we have this much larger than this, or this peak value of output impedance is much smaller than this. Okay, so this can be considered conservative stability requirement. So if you satisfy either this or this, your converter is stable. But even though you meet this condition, there is a chance have the overlap here. So this closed loop characteristics, closed loop performance will be altered from your prediction with uncoupled converter. There is one thing you should consider when you are using the voltage mode control. Okay, closed loop performance, output impedance, and loop gain gotta be changed. By this, you cannot avoid this. Okay, so we moved to the voltage current mode control. So the situation in current mode control is different. The behavior of this in-filter interaction is the same in boost and buck boost converter, but pattern is entirely different in buck converter. We went through that, right? So anyway, this is the 4 input impedances of current mode controlled boost or buck boost converter. So the previously this is the closed loop impedances, okay? So and these are the open loop impedances. Previously, there is just some difference. Okay, let me compare with this with voltage mode control case. This GI double prime remains same, about the same, but GIU was different. So GIU was something like this. And the GI triple prime was, and the GI prime was something like this. This was previously GI triple prime, and this is a GI prime, and this one was GIU. Okay, GI double prime remain the same. Okay, so voltage mode control does not provide any boosting effect in this area, particularly for the open loop input impedances. Loop is open. Okay, voltage loop is open. That loop is the only loop in the system. So system is literally opened. So this thing is showing up here with current mode control. Even though the voltage loop is open, still current loop is closed. So current loop is providing boost of GIU this much in this frequency range, and this much of boost for this GI triple prime, and this much of boost for the GI prime. Okay? So for this case, the conservative requirement for the stability is keep a wide distance, this distance between this value and this value, then it automatically satisfies wide distance between this open loop input impedance and output impedance in filter. So by just satisfying this, all of the condition of minimal in-filter interaction will be satisfied. Okay? So this is a good thing for the current mode control. Actually, this is one of advantage of current mode control. Okay, in terms of sensitivity of its performance against the interaction coming from front, in-filter interaction. Finally, this is the case with buck converter with current mode control. Okay, the characteristic feature of this case is all of 4 input impedances of current mode controlled buck converter, they merge together at this value. So all of them are combined here. Okay, so it generates very important consequence from these characteristics. First, we have 3 filters. This A has wide separation between any of input impedances. So effect of the input impedance is literally negligible, totally removed for the case A. Converter is very stable, And case B, we have some marginal distance. So it's stable, but it will affected by the infilter. Okay? If this is the another buck converter. And even for the with filter C, we should see the oscillation at this frequency. Okay? So the minimum requirement for the stability is this one, keep away from this line and make some distance. And the conservative requirement is increase the distance between the impedances like this. Then everything is okay, right? But problem here is even with these filters, filter B and filter C, filter B will deteriorate the closed performance of converter a lot, and filter C is destabilizing the converter, but that impact is not totally not observable at the output port of converter. Okay, so for that case, output impedance and the loop gain does not tell us anything about system dynamics. It's totally hidden. So in terms of the control jargon, they are saying that information is not observable at the output of converter. Okay? So for the proper information about the system performance is only available from the impedance ratio of this, polar product of this is called minor loop gain, and the audio susceptibility is still providing the proper information. Okay? Because the disturbance is coming from the input. So that is the summary of in-filter interaction of 3 different type PWM converter with 2 different control schemes. That's the end of chapter. And before departing from this chapter, I have maybe 2 or 3 comments. Okay. Obviously, the result of this analysis, in-filter interaction analysis, will be applicable to any source subsystem if you know the source, the characteristic of source impedance. Okay, that is obvious, right? The infilter is the simplest possible source subsystem, but you have very complicated source subsystem, but somehow you know the Thevenin representation of a source system, then result should be the same, right? So that is very important. So this is the general approach, not only for the in-filter interaction, but any type of source subsystem interaction. And in chapter 12, next chapter, we'll discuss those aspects of this analysis. Okay? So that will see the design of DC, distributed power system. All right, these are the references for the in-filter interaction. I wrote this paper long time ago, 25, maybe 30 years ago. And this approach was wrong. I found out this. Okay. At the time of this, I didn't know this. Okay. There is a better way of doing this. This first addressed the line filter design. Okay. Previously, people, they only concerned with the in-filter design. And at that time, I was doing the system level analysis, cascade converter system analysis, and I found something additional consideration are necessary for the line filter case. And I wrote down some paper. Okay, it's another good paper. Okay, and this Middlebrook guy, he originally presented the ET through this in-filter interaction analysis, in-filter consideration in design and the application of switching regulators is very, very important papers. Okay, so most people dealing with this interaction problem, they cite his paper first. Okay, there is another paper. This is also important. This is the in-filter. This is about in-filter interaction for current programmed regulator. Means regulator, this converter with current mode control. And he first found out this problem. He claimed he first found out this problem, but I observed this before his report here. Anyway, he found out that the strange behavior of the converter with current mode control, okay, when you see the loop gain and the output impedance, the unstable buck converter looks stable. You already know this. I explained that maybe 5 times more than that because of the cancelling of numerator and the denominator. The internal dynamics are totally hidden, so you cannot see it. Okay. And I wrote 2 papers about the in-filter interaction. I used this the ET. I formally used the ET, his ET, but in his paper, he didn't explicitly state the ET. He just mentioned the output equation based on the ET. So still many people, they don't know what he was talking about. He was talking about ET without mentioning ET. So I explicitly mentioned the ET in these 2 papers. I derived all the relationship between in-filter and the downstream converter dynamics. Most of content of chapter 11 was written when I was writing these papers. Okay. So you don't have to go to this paper. You already know this. Your textbook is the same thing. Okay. So much better version of this story. Many educational illustrations. Okay. And this is the paper I was mentioning. Okay. In this paper, me and my student, we documented the characteristic of 12 input impedance of 3 different converter with 2 different control scheme. Right? So that is also important. Okay. So this is the end of chapter 11, and next one is chapter 12, and that is the design of DC power distribution system. And we finish that. That will be end of your semester, and also end of my teaching here.